James Lomas and Fiona Maynard from the Dalicados. Welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks for having us, Greg.
You're one of the many bands that released an album. The album's called Nevermore, released it in 2020, the dreaded COVID year. Was that tough, releasing an album last year, or did you release it because of COVID and the lockdown?
No, it was recorded before COVID, and then the world took a shit, and we became part of that shit, and that was it. Was ready to go. We were going to do our launch right when the first lockdown happened, basically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What I find weird about COVID, I want to put this on the record, right? We all grew up in Australia, and we all go to school, and we all get taught things at school, and we all go, we get taught about the history of humanity, and we get taught about the Black Plague, and we get taught about the Spanish flu, but no one says, well, they're going to lock everything up. No, I don't remember any time in my life people going, yeah, no, we're going to stop bands playing. We're absolutely going to stop everything. We're going to stop you working. We're going to stop bands playing. You can practice in your house, and that's about the best you can get.
Yeah.
I found that really weird, and I consider myself a relatively smart, well-educated guy, but it really felt like, I wasn't prepared for it. It wasn't something that I'd thought, oh, well, one day we're going to be locked, we're going to be locked down and wear masks and all that. It never occurred to me.
Yeah, we had no contingency. So what was weird was I'm used to doing a certain kind of way of promoting an album and using live shows, and every time we play a gig as part of that process. And also going in and talking with people at Triple R and PBS. And of course, even the radio stations couldn't have visitors going in. And so we'd released some of the songs, but in terms of the album, that was, we put off releasing that till December, which is not really the ideal time to release an album anyway, for, unless it's a Michael Bublé Christmas record or something, So that was tricky. But by the same token, what happened was there were different ways of promoting it and connecting with audiences. It's just, I'm not someone who pushes forward into terrain I don't know about. I like to sort of see other people test it first. And so that was weird, but it's been really wonderful since we've gone back to playing live. Music has taken a different significance for people who've been locked down, and we're used to being able to go out, and that's part of their way of life. That's part of their own personal culture. And so it was a case of absence making the heart grow fonder, I think, as well.
Yeah. So
it's interesting releasing the album, which is definitely, I think, a collection of survival songs, that they seem to be, I'm talking about what I hear James write about. They're often there's been a particular incident or event or problem that the lyrics and the story and the song resolves. And I think that after everyone in the world has been impacted by COVID in some way, I think that their emotional frequency has been turned up, which makes more people more receptive to more emotionally charged music.
Yeah. Where I feel totally comfortable going up against Mariah Carey, Michael Bublé, Human Nature. I think it's a fair fight. If we were actually fighting, we'd be okay.
Let's go back. When you put this band together, what were the goals?
Okay, I'm always writing songs, and I don't have goals in mind for the band per se. My my goals are pretty
intrinsic when it comes to music.
Well, yeah, I wanted to write good songs, record them, and play good gigs, and that's about it. There's no sort of Machiavellian reason why I would want to create a band. So all it is it's like falling downstairs. That's what most music after I write a song has always been for me. I love all the processes of creating music. I love writing music. I love playing gigs, and everything else I'm not particularly excited by or good at. So promoting it, actually physically doing the record, meaning releasing it. Like I love recording music. It's amazing, but all the other stuff feels a little hard to me. That's how that, but you know, some people are made for that, and I'm just not one of those people.
I think another thing for that James has not quite said yet, but it's also the people that we have in our band that are important to James, because he has a full-time job aside from music. It's very important that the collaborators that he finds speak the same language, and
well, they're just all my best friends.
Yeah,
is the bottom line. I mean, I only make music with people I love to be around, and I won't bother. I'm not going to be in a band with someone that's a fucking clown. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, and they're all old friends. They're all really good friends. They're all great musicians who have a big history all their own. And I'm really happy and lucky that they even play with me, including Fee. You know, it's, you know, well, I mean, we've played together for 28 years. And I've played with Mark for years, Cal for years, Jack for years, everyone. We're just all friends that want to create beautiful music, whatever you consider beautiful. I consider our music beautiful because I consider all music beautiful. Probably not Human Nature, but other than that, most, you know, I can find a lot of beauty and a lot of, you know, I find heavy metal beautiful. I'm not part of the scene. I don't sit down and listen to it, but I understand why people would play that music and get together with mates and play that music. And it's all the same thing. It doesn't really matter what comes out of you. It's just you enjoying the time together and the little moments in it. And yeah, I still love it, even to this day, even after COVID, even doing the gigs we've just done recently, they've been great. It feels exciting. You feel like you're part of a gang, which is great.
Yeah, and also the timing of Dalicados forming was around when our bass player Mark Carson's wife Jenny Carson was very crook. She'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer, and it was a terribly turbulent time for Mark in particular, and music is what helps Mark. Music is about the only thing that can distract him from the pain. So there was it was a bit of a group therapy. That was one of the heart reasons for doing it anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we played in a band with Jen. She was a great musician as well. And yeah, that was horrible. This year's been horrible. We lost last year, sorry. Last year was horrible. We lost our old bandmate Dave Thomas, who played with us for a decade in Vivo, who was an amazing guitar player, but an awesome guy. Aside from all of that, he was in a bunch of bands and people know him from lots of things, but we loved him. You don't get forever, so you get the time you get and you enjoy it and turn up your amp and hit your chords and hit your notes and try to make it fun for yourselves and fun for other people. No better feeling. Yeah. That's why we keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about some tracks on the album. Nevermore. Why did that become the title track?
Well, that's actually really easy to answer. I wrote that song when I was playing with Jenny and Mark and Fee in a band called Last Call. It was almost like a country band that we had before Jenny got sick, years ago, actually. And I wrote that song, and Jenny always really liked it. She was a drummer, and she really loved playing drums on that track. And it really resonated with Mark, our bass player, and I couldn't have called the album anything else once we decided to call it that. That track was really important to him. It's important because it's a time in our life that was really creative and really inspiring, and someone's there not to enjoy it anymore. And so that was a no-brainer. That was easy.
Yeah. The track, simple as it may sound, I love the guitar solo in that. I assume that's you, James. Was that a solo you worked on?
That was me. Yeah. No, all of my solos on the record are improvised. I recreate them pretty close live, but I like to be in a room, especially with Cal, Fee, and Jack, and Mark, and Trace. We get in there, and it's a feeling of taking off, and that's what that solo was. I don't play a lot of fuzz guitar, but Dougal, who made the record, had a really old, like a fuzz wah pedal, and he said, try this, and it just sounded fucking horrible in all the right ways. And I thought, well, I'm definitely using this for the solo. And so I did, and showed Jack the part. He doubled the part. And it came out good. I like it too. I think it sounds good, and it's good that it is. It feels crazy, which is good because the rest of the song doesn't particularly feel crazy. I like those little bits in the song. Bands like Wilco do it really good with Nils Klein and all of that. And I really respond to that in music. I love to hear something that just is like, fuck, really? You had to do that? You couldn't do something melodic or nice? So.
And it was written, the song, simple as it may sound, was written by a friend of ours when we lived over in Los Angeles, Marcus Huet Alves. He was in a band called Ed's Too Short, and they were our label mates with Birdcage Records over there. And that was a song on their album that we always loved. So we've been playing it ever since we got back. And because we really loved the recording, we asked Marcus what he thought about it. He was really happy with us to record it, and he loved the different version too.
It's the only song on the album I didn't write. And I don't normally do covers like that, but I really like the song, and I really like Marcus. We're good mates, and I thought we could do a version of this that is totally different than he did, and it is. It's good.
Yeah. Jack Howard's trumpet adds an extra dimension to the band's sound, and particularly on the track Epigram. Tell me about that track, how that came together.
Okay. I actually was in a room with Jack. I wrote the riff for Epigram, and Jack just instantly doubled it. And we've been doing it the same way ever since. And it's a weird song. It's the timing in it's really strange. But Jack and Cal especially they really love those strange timing sort of songs, and they really respond well to them. And that's how that came about. And the ending was never there. It was actually quite a sweet song, just a that sort of riff, like almost a lullaby type song. But then we were just sort of jamming it out, and just it ended up just always descending into the chaos that happens at the end. And it just sounded more fun than doing just a basic song. It just sounds good for the rock ending, which it's, you know, it reminds me of my youth. It reminds me of Guided by Voices, that song. I love that band, so maybe I've just swiped it somehow.
Yeah. Tell me about the guitars that you use on the album.
Yep, well, that's easy. I use mainly Telecasters. I've got a few of them. I've used them, I guess, predominantly for 25 years, but I also use an old Gibson 135, like an arch top guitar. 135, 125, I don't know. I've got one of those, and I use that for a couple of tracks on the album. I use it on, definitely use it on Pigeons and one other song, I can't remember, but primarily it's Telecaster for the record. And I got a couple of amps that I use an old, I've got an old Fender Vibrosonic that is like an early 70s one that I use, and the tallies through that they're really stark sounding, and so I like that, you know, cuts through. I was talking to, we play a lot of shows with Jack's band and Ed Bates. Do you know Ed Bates?
Not personally, but I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah. He's in that band, and me and him were talking about how, because they were designed for pedal steel guitars, so that they just don't overdrive. They're one of those amps that just don't overdrive, and they work really well with tellies because it sounds like a piano string every time you hit a string. So it's great, you know. And yeah, if anyone asks me, Telecasters are the way to go.
Yeah,
best guitars ever made.
Fiona, did you add any instrumentation to the album?
Vocal parts that, because the way that I like to use the voice throughout the album is sometimes for texture. So there'll be textural vocal parts that I contributed and wrote, but playing, it's more percussion and just direct and vocals and some production. Like I was in at the studio a lot helping.
Feed produced the album basically with Dougal. Because Mark. Yeah, I run out of patience. I just want to play the songs and
it'd be done.
And it'd be done. I don't, the tweaking thing, it drives me crazy. It really does. It's counterintuitive to what I think music is. So, and that's not taken away. Everyone has to do it. I mean, fuck, Frank Zappa used to sit there and cut tape for 24 hours in a row, but I couldn't do that. And hats off to Frank Zappa, but, you know, fuck, that would be shotgun mouthwash for me at that point.
Yeah. There's a nice acoustic guitar sound behind Is Melbourne Bitter. What were you using on that?
Oh, that's awesome, because that is a guitar, a travel acoustic guitar we bought in Chicago.
Okay.
We bought it at, is there a shop? I think it's called Chicago Music Exchange. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
It's a little shop in Chicago, and it was a little secondhand Canadian-made guitar called
I can go get it.
It's like a seagull. You know, the little seagull guitars? Yeah. It's like one of those, and it's tiny, and it just sounds amazing. It's a great little guitar, and we play it all the time, and it's dinged up and banged up, and I think it sounds really good. I mean, I got a Martin and a Takamine. I've got good acoustics, but for some reason, I really love this little guitar. Oh, she's grabbing it. I don't know.
This one?
It's that one.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's just a little baby acoustic, and you know, it doesn't sound lush like a Martin or anything like that, you know, which are really incredible sounding. You know, if I was a bluesgrass musician, I'd be playing the Martin all the time. But yeah, I think that really worked. I like it too. I'm glad someone else liked it. No one's brought that up. And
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, I recorded that and sung it at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just recorded it and sung it, just finger picked it. It was all live. And then Cal did some stuff, Mark did some stuff, Fee and Trace did some stuff.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And most of the stuff we did, we ended up pulling back just so we could hear the acoustic guitar again because it works so well just like that.
Yeah.
We were doing it more bandy, but in terms of what works for the song, that was the way it translated best.
That was my one-take wonder on the record.
So do you see Dalicados as an ongoing project? Are you looking at recording another album at some point?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I'm always writing songs where the gigs are going really well. We've got lots of songs we haven't recorded. So it's just a matter of what will... I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the future? It might be, you know, people might start exploding in 2022. I don't know. Fuck knows. But if people don't start exploding, we will record something else for sure. This year, we really want to... Fee's got a whole heap of songs and she wants to do a solo record that I really want to record with her and get out there. But we're going to continue to play and get the album out there, get the songs out there. I love playing with all the people in the band, so I don't see any reason. I mean, if gigs come up, we just take them. We're not hardcore hustlers. We're not out there trying to get every second gig in Australia because it's just not... I don't know. It's not in my DNA. I mean, maybe... You know, Jack loves playing. He could probably play every night and be very, very happy. I'd probably have a conniption fit after 3 or 4 gigs. So, but I, you know, I love playing with these guys and we'll continue to do so. And yeah, we're definitely down the track. We want to record a follow-up to this for sure.
In the past, I think that sometimes we've moved on from a recording because... you know, as a musician, you're always interested in the next thing you're going to do and your new song. But I think that in the past, maybe we haven't, or me, especially because I do a lot of PR and trying to connect the songs, find people to listen to it. I think it's worth giving a bit of space between the recordings as well. Because sometimes it takes people a little while to get around to listening to it and to, it can take, some songs take quite a while to reach people's ears in the way that you want them to.
Yeah, but also something that musicians don't talk about much, and it's really, I'll be really specific. When you make a record, it's like you're a bunch of chefs working in a kitchen. And you finish for the night and you've made all the meals and all you can taste and smell is the ingredients of the meals, right? And so what happens is you go away and when you hear the record, all you hear is
the
parts. You don't hear the finished product. I've always felt like I've made lots of records with Fee, lots of records in my life. It takes a couple of years for you to appreciate what you've done. At first, it feels, like I said, like all you can hear are the parts and all you can taste are the ingredients. That's what it feels like for ages to me. I don't know if other musicians feel the same. I would love to. I'm sure I've spoken to about this to other people that make records, but it's so specific to me. I feel it so much, and I just wonder if, like, U2 or fucking the Rolling Stones or whatever, when they finish a record, they're like, fuck this. We've just had to endure whatever. And now all I can hear is fucking Bono crying in the corner or whatever is going on. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hard to separate what the actual art is, if it is indeed art. I mean,
it's hard to take in the whole when you know the sum of its parts.
Yeah, it took me years. Like, we recorded an album when I was really young in LA, which was really good fun. And everything about it was fun. It was exciting. I was really young and we did it and it was great. But for years, all I could hear was like my perception of the album was what happened when we were making it. I actually couldn't hear the songs properly. And it's only now, after fucking 27 years or whatever, that I can actually start. Like, Fee put it on the other day for the first time in years. And I go, wow, I don't even believe this is me playing. I don't even remember that. So it's like forced amnesia. And then eventually you forget that you were even part of it and you pretend it's someone else and then you can appreciate it properly. Otherwise, to me, it all feels like a crazy mashup of personalities and gear working or not working, or, you know, it's weird. I wonder if everyone feels like that, or I'm just an idiot. I don't know. It could be anything.
Sometimes if you're too close, you're under the microscope with it rather than looking through the microscope.
Well, that's probably an analytical way of looking at it.
That's what I do.
It just doesn't feel like that.
So if people want to listen to or buy Nevermore, where's the best place to go?
Bandcamp. They can purchase it directly from Bandcamp. I know that Poem, Benny's going to have some copies. And also whenever we play live, we haven't yet got into any of the best record stores that we're trying to get to, but we will. But at the moment, anyone can download it from Bandcamp and listen and stream.
I think we're on a Facebook page, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got a Facebook page. They can probably message us if they want it. And, yeah, we'll send it.
Yay.
Really?
Right, James and Fiona, it's been great to chat. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks heaps, Greg. It's lovely to chat to you, mate.